What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Some exciting news from ESPN reporter Jeremy Fowler on the contract extension talks with the New York Jets and Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. So Jeremy Fowler of ESPN was on with Connor Long and confirmed that the Jets have made offers to Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner.
Jeremy, the Jets picked up their fifth-year options for the 2026 season. Yeah. When do you think an extension gets banged out for these guys? Is it this offseason? Do you see something happening potentially before the start of the year? Do you think the Jets ultimately wait till next offseason to make these guys Jets for long term?
I do believe there's a chance they get something done. You know, most front offices now are going to at least try to be proactive if you know you have a marquee guy, which I think in Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, they certainly do, because it's only going to cost you more a year from now. That seems to be the trend. Even a couple years ago, you would only pay quarterbacks or maybe a pass rusher who was 3 years into a first-round rookie deal, which means they still had 2 years of contractual control with the fifth-year option. I do think that's slightly changing now, so you could see a deal. And in fact, I'll say this here. From what I've heard, they've at least had some initial talks and made some sort of contract offer for those two players. I don't know all the details, but that's asking around. That is my expectation, that they've at least gotten that far. Now, where that leads, or if that leads to anything, I don't know. But I do think the Jets are going to follow through on their plans to at least try.
I like this. I'm hoping that the New York Jets come to an agreement on contract extensions with both those guys at this point. And I think if you're looking for some comparables on what we could potentially be expecting for both of these deals, I think it's become kind of obvious. For Sauce Gardner, the new standard is Derek Stingley. The corner market absolutely blew up this offseason with Horn and now Derek Stingley's contract. Derek Stingley got 3 years at $90 million, so a $30 million AAV, $48 million fully guaranteed over that time. I think the Jets will beat it. I think Sauce Gardner gets over $100 million. We saw, this is years ago, but we saw Jalen Ramsey get $100 million over 5 years. I think the $30 million AAV is right around where you're going to be for Sauce. So is that 4 for 120? What does this look like? Did they go for 3 for closer to 100, 3 for 95? Like, what's the number? For me, I'm looking at a 4-year contract extension. We'll see if the Jets go shorter or longer. They could just do essentially copy paste for this contract, but Sauce has indicated that he wants to be with the New York Jets. He's interested in staying and being a part of the revival of this franchise. And something that we've noticed too, Sauce Gardner's put on some muscle this offseason, right? Like, you think of Sauce, he's, long, lanky corner, and he would still be described as a long and lanky corner, but he's added some muscle, and he kind of looks like he's rounded out a little bit, which, not rounded out as in he's gotten fat, but he's put on, maybe 15 pounds or so, similar to Will McDonald. And I think he's taking his game very seriously. He knows he's coming off a down year, wants to improve and get back to being one of the best corners in the NFL. I think he does that. I think the Jets pay him this offseason as well. As for Garrett Wilson, he, like Sauce Gardner, has talked about wanting to stay with the New York Jets. And I think you're looking at a similar contract to what Brandon Ayuk and Amon-Ra St. Brown got. Essentially 4 for 120 with a guarantee somewhere around $75 million. And I am good with that, right around 30 million. Maybe it's a touch less than that. Honestly, I'm thinking like 28 to 32 million AAV. I know he hasn't had the Amon-Ra St. Brown like production yet. Maybe even that 1 year of Brandon Ayuk as well, you can make the case for, but he's the Jets' #1 wide receiver. He's one of the better young receivers in the NFL. I think he's due for a really productive year. Kind of like, Terry McLaurin with Washington. He was there for a few years, decided to stay, and was a part of the turnaround, rather than saying, you know what, I want out, send me to a contender. And, well, Washington's got to a point, they found their quarterback, and they are a contender. So I do expect Garrett Wilson to sign. If I was guessing which of the two is more likely, if only one were to happen, my guess would be that it would be Garrett. But who knows? Who knows? It could be either one of these two guys. It's just a gut thing, feeling that, Garrett Wilson would be the one who gets a contract extension first. But I'm okay with them extending both Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson when you hit on draft picks to this extent and make them building blocks. They're at positions of need, or key positions in the NFL rather, wide receiver and corner. It's not like, the discussions that we're having about should they pay Jamal Adams at safety big money and then he ended up forcing his way out. It's not like when they had Leonard Williams and they just drafted, Quinnen Williams and he ends up getting traded. It's not like the Sam Darnold situation or Zach Wilson or any of that stuff. This is a time where you use two top 10 picks on players that turned out to be really, really good. Sauce Gardner, 2-time first-team All-Pro. Awesome player. Garrett Wilson has remained productive. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons to start his career. 2 1,100-yard seasons. I'd like him to take that step up to be a 1,200-plus guy. I know this offense is going to be more run-heavy, but I still think there's a world where he, as the lead guy in the offense, can give you 1,200 yards in a season and be a really productive player for you. So I'm excited for both these guys. Again, I hope something happens before we get to training camp, but something to keep an eye on, and just wanted to talk about that report. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll catch you next time.